New York, and on the new Hot 97 app. Ebro in the morning on Hot 97.
Ladies and gentlemen, Ebro in the morning, Hot 97. Let's see, author, publisher,
just all around entrepreneur.
Former NFL great. I'm giving you great. Martellus Bennett's in the building, ladies and gentlemen. Marty B. People still call you Marty B?
I dropped the B after I got married. So anyone that called me Marty B, I know it's from a previous life. And I just be like, where you know me from? I ain't no more Marty B.
Why, that way if you stop it there, you know, you can draw a line in the sand that's safe.
Yeah, I know that's from the past. It's not from, yeah.
Well, it's funny because I only know Marty B because my friend Elliot's a huge Cowboys fan. He used to always just be like, Marty B, Marty B. First of all, you have a new book.
Yes. Dear Black Boy.
Which is out right now.
Yes.
And tell us about this book.
Well, this book is about the idea of like being a black kid, how you feel the community just rolls your basketball or football and tell you good luck. And my whole thing is to tell black boys that they have more value in the world than their athletic ability. I feel like athletic ability is a limited resource that's only valuable on the court or on the field. Once you're off the court or off the field, there's no value in the world. You want to go in the tech industry, no one cares how high you jump. No one cares how fast you run. Right. So for me, it's like, how do we start building whole human beings and have them not just focus on being great athletes? Because not that many of them are going to make it to the league. They got a better chance of becoming doctors and lawyers than they have of becoming Pro Bowl football players or NBA All-Stars.
That's a great point.
It's funny because I could imagine, right, when your fans, right, we have all these kids who want to be a football player. That's what they want to do. Like, and you're having these honest conversations about, okay, yeah, but there's actually more available for you. Are you honest with these kids? Like when you know what I mean? Because you don't want to burst their bubble, and then they look to you like, oh my God, my idol, you know?
Yeah, my brother always laughed because at his football camps, all the players start laughing when I start speaking because I keep it real. But the whole idea is that it's not that you can't play sports. It's about using sports. A lot of these guys are going to get used by sports and don't get anything out of the game. So they become the tool of the sport instead of using the sport as a tool. So how do you get them to get the mindset of like, hey, I got to use this to get to where I want to go in life? That's not guaranteed because you're one play, one day, one guy not like you for not being able to play in the league anymore or even make it to the league. So, there's only 1,500 guys in the NFL.
It's crazy, too, that we are as far removed from slavery as we are in this country. And yet it still feels like we have a constant narrative that physical gifts are what the black contribution should be. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's a narrative that really still exists.
It's part of conditioning. I think to change the way that society looks at us, we got to change the way that we see ourselves, and that'll be a reflection in society. With a lot of kids, though, you think about a kid who's really good at basketball, football. If they walk into the barbershop, everyone's like, man, this kid's so great, man. He's going to be the next Michael Jordan. He's going to be the next LeBron James. But the kid that's an honor roll student walks in, and no one says anything. No one's like, oh, this kid's going to be a genius. He's going to change the world. This kid has a mind on him. We don't celebrate all facets of the geniuses in our community.
And think about what percentage of those kids turn out to be the next anything.
I mean, Michael Jordan kids never made it to the NBA.
It hasn't happened. Exactly. Yeah. Michael's kids didn't make it to the NBA. And you think about it, how many kids there are who were the best athlete in their elementary school, best athlete in their middle school, best athlete in their high school, and then made it to like a D3 college, and that's still the end. And they were the best athlete. People tell stories about them like, yo, John was the greatest player I've ever known in my life. And it's like, what happened to him? And it's like, oh, he works at a shoe store.
Yeah,
that happens all the time.
I know a bunch of those stories.
Of course.
Those are so many guys.
You played against those guys.
There's a bunch of guys that was way better than me, growing up athletically, and they had more athletically inclined. I knew I was going to play sports. I made myself good at sports, at practicing and things like that, but I knew sports wasn't a forever thing. I just looked at the NFL as a side hustle to build my company and branch off and do what I want to do for the rest of my life. The game has to end. Every ball goes flat. But creatively, I could create till I die.
How old are you?
I'm 32. No?
32 years old, and you had what's considered a normal length. A long NFL career, because the average length of a career is like, what, 4 years?
3.
So my question is, what was instilled in the Bennett household that made both you and your brother so conscious? How did this come to be?
I think my parents just allowed us to have voices. If there was something that we didn't agree with them on, they listened, they heard us out. But the thing was, we had to be educated on what we were talking about and what our point of view was. So I'm an avid reader. Michael's an avid reader. We read totally different things, but my mom's a teacher. My dad's a IT guy. Has always built computers and things like that. So we just grew up voicing our opinion, and we were heard. My parents, they listened to us. Even if we were wrong, they would show us why we were wrong, and then we'll try to go hard to prove why we was right. And that's kind of how our conversations were at the dinner table. Other than that, I think it's just through life, like just exploring through life. Me and Michael both have been on separate paths, and you cannot discover without exploring, and we've been allowed to explore. We continue to explore, and I think that's what makes us so intrigued by the world.
Last time you were here, we discussed that you were still working on your short, your animated short. I think it was called Zuvi.
No, I did Zuvi, and then I did The Fantastical Adventures of AJ.
Oh my God! Because so I remember Asher Roth was part of it, right?
Yeah, he was in my first movie.
Yeah. Can you just talk a little bit about them? Because I remember you were still cooking. You hadn't even put it out yet last time you were here.
Yeah, Asher Roth was a real good dude. I really loved his voice, and I really loved the song I Love College. And I was like, man, I need this guy to be in something of mine. So when I was working on my first film, I hit him up. I was like, man, I got this character that's perfect for you. Will you do this voiceover for me? He was like, yeah, I'm in. So it was the first thing I ever directed. And
Asher did that in spite of you never playing for the 49ers.
I know, right?
He's one of my good friends.
He's a huge 49ers fan.
He is a hardcore 49ers
I believe
fan.
I got him tickets one time. We went to go play against the 49ers. I was like, it's an away game, so you probably have to be at the top. He's like, I don't care where I'm sitting. I just want to be. He's a 49er fan all the way. I don't meet a lot of people who are true fans of a team like he was, but he's a 49er fan.
Him and Schoolboy Q are the two most true school 49er fans that I know in the hip hop business.
That's crazy.
But yeah, Asher, I never thought of him as a voice, but he's such a great voice for that.
I want to use him for more stuff. So yeah, that movie, I didn't go to school for making film, so all I did was educate myself, just reading and watching videos and things like that. And that's how I kind of learned how to do it. I did the music, I did the script, I did character design, directed it, got the voiceover, pretty much everything you could do. It was a huge learning experience. And I think it's best like that because I just want to have ownership of the IP that I create. So my company, everything we do at the Imagination Agency, I own, I make it, I pick out the paper. I'm not like one of those guys that has a company and put their name on other people's work. No, I do the work. Like the paper in that book, it took me 3 months to find the paper in Dear Black Boy, the paper that I like. So I own every single part of it.
You wanted a very specific, it is a really nice texture.
Thank you.
And you wanted a very specific, it smells delightful, by the way.
Well, thank you. It was wood-free fire burn. It was wood-free fire burn.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was really hard to find, but we was able to track it down. So yeah, every single part of my company, I touch it. It's all hands-on. It comes from my mind, and from my mind into your hands is how it works.
For football for a second. Were you bummed out that they're getting to play with your brother in New England next year didn't work out?
I'm the reason why it didn't work out.
You just chose not to?
I mean, I don't really think. I just felt like for me, I make a bigger impact on the world. The impact that I want to make in the world as a creative. Like there's this anecdote. I was talking to my friend Brandon Marshall the other day, and this anecdote we was sharing. It was like this guy from Wall Street took this trip to the beach, and he's hanging out on the beach, and he saw this dude come in every single day with 3 large fish, and he was like, "Man, I've been sitting here for a couple of weeks now." And I see you come in, you have 3 fish every single day consistently. He's like, what are you doing with the fish? And the dude was like, well, I eat one, I sell one, and I save one just in case for tomorrow if I don't catch anything. But he's like, you always catch everything. He's like, I know, right? So then he goes like, well, he's like, have you ever thought about catching more fish? He was like, yeah, but then he's like, then what? He's like, if we can get you to catch more fish, I can help you scale your business where you could take over this entire island. Then the guy was like, then what will we do? He was like, then we'll take it and we'll start shipping stuff to New York and we'll just take over the U.S. market too. Then he was like, then what? He was like, then we'll have an IPO. And then he said, once we do the IPO, we raise all this money, then you can sell your company. Then the fisherman goes, then what? The guy says, then you can move to a small island and fish every day. And he was just, so for me, it's like, for football, where I wanted to get, I already got there. So to go back would be going backwards because what I wanted out of the game is what I have right now.
It's a really good point. So was it tempting, though, and did your brother want you to do it?
Yeah, man. It's very tempting because that's the only thing I didn't get to do. We were roommates in college. You know, when we played together and things like that, it would be a joy. I already had a big marketing plan, Mike and Marty M&Ms. You know, I was one, you know, I had all kinds of ideas. I'm the marketing guru of the family. I'm like, bro, we could do this. I don't have to get paid that much on the field because what we're doing together, I'll be able to make more off the field, and we could just push myself back into retirement.
Which fits well with the Patriots, who like to keep around great players who are willing to play for less, who just want to be there to play.
Yes, that does. I fit in exactly at this time. But now it's like, man, they will try to lowball me even more now because they know that I want to play with my brother.
Did you give your brother any advice about playing for Coach Belichick?
Yeah, I think everybody's kind of nervous about going there at first because you don't really know what to expect. But with him, what I told him was, I was just like, just be you. I think they really love people when you show them who you truly are because they know what they're dealing with. When you got people you don't know what you're dealing with every single day, I think it's kind of a little wishy-washy. But I think he'll do well because he's smart and he's a history guy. And Bill Belichick is a history guy too. So I was like, yeah, I'll probably bond over history.
Did you get? Are there any moments that you shared with Belichick that you could talk about? Like, did you guys ever have a bonding moment?
Yeah, I talked to everybody was laughing because I talked to Bill the most out of anybody on the team, they said. So I really love Bill. I mean, there was times where he'd be like reaching in the cookie jar and I was just telling him I was just like, Bill, you want to just stick your hand in the cookie jar? What about everybody else? You know, so it's just like for him, I love talking to him just about just history, how much he knows about the game. Like we'll be on the plane and we'll just be standing up in the back and I'll just listen to him talk for hours, just dropping knowledge. I like old people. Old people have a lot of knowledge. And
how was your relationship with Kraft?
Me and Kraft was cool. Yeah, Brother Kraft. I mean, we liked each other.
Brother Kraft?
I call him Brother Kraft.
Is that now that he like hangs out with Meek Mill and wears his Dream Chasers chain? Has he become
that
brother?
was before then. I guess I kind of paved the way for him to be able to go hang out with Meek Mill.
Well, hold on. It is it is interesting though, right? Because originally with Kraft, what we knew was that he was friends with Trump, and like Trump showed up. And listen, this is one thing that I was never like I'm not a Patriots fan, so I was never a Robert Kraft fan, but I certainly never defend anyone for their friendships with Donald Trump. But I did always say about Robert Kraft that Donald Trump showed up to his wife's funeral. It is going to be very hard for him to ever like publicly say anything bad about Donald Trump. I always thought that I was like, someone who you knew from, business and playing golf, et cetera, and then he shows up at your worst time.
Yeah.
I understand why there would be a relationship there.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Trump went to the funeral, et cetera.
I don't keep up with that stuff, man. I live in my own little. I live in Martyland. I've been in my own little world.
Well, so my question was going to be, knowing Kraft, you weren't surprised that he did sort of take this turn, this interest in Meek Mill and sort of social justice to some degree?
Well, I mean, I didn't know what he was be doing in his spare time. When I saw him, it was just early in the morning when he's about to go work out. So I think he's always been kind. He's always been wanting to give back. If you ask anybody in Foxborough, Boston, or Massachusetts at all, they know that he's one of the most giving people there. He's the type of guy where every morning he goes to Dunkin' Donuts. Everybody else in the shop, he just buys wherever they're getting. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I was like, I'll just follow you to Dunkin' Donuts every day. But, I think that he's a guy who wants to help. And I think a lot of times people in a position don't know how to help. So when they get another friend like Ruben on the Sixers that kind of enlighten them on what's going on, then I think they feel like, oh, we could make a difference, or we should make a difference. But I think a lot of times, a lot of people get so far removed from that world that they don't really know what's going on. And once they get reintroduced to it, they kind of go crazy and want to try to change as much as they can.
Any chance Colin Kaepernick ever takes a snap again in the NFL?
I don't think so. I mean, with the settlement and all that thing, I don't really see it happening. I mean, it's unfortunate because he could still play, and compete, but just the way that things unfolded, I don't really see it happening.
Were you surprised? What was your reaction when you saw the settlement that he decided to settle?
I was just like, oh snaps, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, that's one of those cases where, I don't really have all the ins and outs of what he was really going through as far as what he was going through on the back end of, like, the collusion and everything that was going on. I never seen any of the papers and things like that. But I imagine that NFL would want to settle because the fact that they did settle means that he really had a case, right? You don't really settle unless someone has a case against you.
Yeah, at least something or at least enough that it would have dragged it out and been and made it difficult for them.
Yeah, and I think of what it was I didn't think a lot of those rich white men didn't want to come from behind those closed doors and actually have to testify in court and have to speak. They didn't want to have to reveal themselves to the world, so it's better for them to settle.
Right, so even if they had won the case and not been able to prove total collusion, you still would have had conversations that would have come out that would have looked really suspect.
Yeah.
That's how I viewed it. I know proving collusion is hard, but I know there were text messages out there. I know there were things out there that would have at least been uncomfortable.
I mean, if the animation industry could collude for animators not to be able to take different jobs in different places and how much they want to pay the animators, then I'm pretty sure the NFL could do it too.
So you're big on the animation collusion case. I don't even know about this.
I mean, it's just back in the day. I'm just saying, like, in time, I kind of keep up with a little bit of everything in the industries that I want to be in. So,
and that was something that happened in the animation world.
Yeah, at one point in time. Yeah.
Wow. What is your thoughts on people who protest the NFL? Do you think that's the move to make? Do you Or do you still want to support the NFL after your time there?
I mean, I think a lot of guys there's a lot of people that come from where I come from that have been able to make a lot of money and using the NFL. I think it's about supporting those that you want to support. So it's like almost separating the two. Like my brother's been able to feed his family, had friends that have been able to feed their families off the NFL. There's a lot of things, that I think the NFL is more reactive than proactive, which is part of the issue. But I think moving forward, they're probably going to start trying to get things right more often. So,
do you think they currently care? Like, do you think right now they're trying to do the right things?
I don't think they care. I don't think they personally care, but it matters to them because of the reflection of their company. They don't have to personally care, but they care about the money that the company makes. So therefore, they care about the company, and this affects the company.
I
So
feel like they're forced to care now. Like even during the Super Bowl, how many like commercials did we see of all like the giving back that they're doing? I was like, okay. We would have never seen anything like this before.
Yeah, they want. Yeah, I mean, then they messed up because they had Adam Levine do the thing. I mean, if you want to give back,
all these black artists locally, you could have
from Atlanta, just give back. Like, do the right thing right there. So I don't know, but. Man, he just looked like he just forgot the potato salad, though, when he was up there, man. It's just like, man, my guy.
What do you mean, how ripped he was?
No, just because he was just so bad.
Oh, you really didn't like the Adam Levine performance?
Oh, no, it's horrible.
Was it anything more different than you expected? I mean, I'm not a Maroon 5 fan, so I guess I didn't know what to expect. I was impressed with how ripped he was. I thought he was in great shape.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he was. Yeah, he looked like he could go play wide receiver for the Patriots.
They actually signed him right after that. Are you a Game of Thrones guy?
I am not. My wife is. I am not a Game of Thrones guy.
Why not? What's wrong with you?
It's just too many episodes.
You see, it's too intimidating now.
Not intimidating. It's just time consuming. I got other things to do. I'm a book reader, so I read a book this morning before I came here.
What'd you read this morning?
I read the Spiderwick Chronicles, book number 1.
Really, you're gonna not make time for Game of Thrones to read
I
Spider-Man?
know your wife was looking at you crazy. Like, I can't even talk to you about this.
Reading bootleg Spider-Man.
Right now, what I'm into is Killing Eve, though. I'm watching Killing Eve, which I really like that show. So
I haven't gotten into Killing Eve.
Yeah, I've heard good things about it, though.
I really enjoy it, but I don't watch a lot of TV.
So you're mostly books.
Books and writing. If I'm not,
You have a favorite book of all time?
That's a good question. Depends. Are you talking about philosophy, life? There's so many different genres.
No.
So probably my most inspirational character in the book that I ever read about was Willy Wonka. So Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I always want to be Willy Wonka.
And to this day, that really still holds an important place for you.
Yeah, it does. Now, I just made the most chocolatest book in the world, but and Dear Black Boy. But
well said.
But I just always loved the fact that he made chocolate and that everybody wanted his chocolate. So my whole life I always think about what is your chocolate, what is my chocolate, and my creativity is my chocolate. And hopefully one day I could put golden tickets in my books or something that I make, and people want to win a chance to go to the Imagination Agency.
That's really tight. Where can people find all your short films and all your work?
You can just go to imaginationagency.com.
Okay.
All my books and everything you could purchase on there, and then you could purchase the books on Amazon as well. So I'm an independent. I'm like Chance the Rapper of literature.
Everything independent.
Everything independent. So yeah.
And what are the prices like for a book like this?
$17.99.
Not too bad.
Yeah.
$17.99. Dear Black Boy, it's out right now. Do you sell the whole set? You got a thing where you could buy all 3 at the same time?
Yeah, I'm working on that.
There you go.
Yeah, gotta get the right price though.
You got to figure out a price point. One thing I find that's so amazing about writing, I don't read nearly enough, and I was staying with my godparents this weekend. They have so many books in their house, and I picked up a random novel and started reading. And I know this sounds like a basic thing, but I found it so amazing. It's a woman author, a well-regarded novelist who I've never heard of, and I pick up the book, and it's from the perspective of a man in like the 1970s, maybe 1980s. And I'm just like, how does a woman in 2000 whatever write from a male perspective in 1970 something? To me, that creatively is so difficult to imagine.
Research.
Yeah, I guess so, right?
It's all research. I think that writing is one of the most beautiful things. I think books are the cheapest way to travel. And if you could build a world for someone to visit with the things that you write, like we would never have had a chance to go to Hogwarts if it wasn't for J.K. Rowling. Everything that human beings enjoy is the result of another human being's creativity. So that's why I don't really understand why people try to strip creativity from schools and limit kids' imagination, because without imagination, you cannot create solutions. So therefore, we are eliminating the future problem solvers of the world won't have the tools. They won't be equipped with the tools to solve the problems that we cause for them. So
Really well said.
Yeah, so like with books and stuff, like when I write, it's a lot of research, a lot of thought, like even like color palettes. And when you want to build a world for people to visit, I look at myself as a travel agent. So when you buy something for me, it's like buying a ticket to go somewhere. And that's why I look at the way every single thing is a conversation, who I want to have a conversation with. So,
Hey, listen, it's a real pleasure talking to you, man. I enjoyed watching you play, but I enjoy talking to you more. So I feel like you made the right decision.
I definitely made the right decision.
You didn't question this.
Nah, I started my company 4 years ago when I was still playing.
So you had time to figure it out.
Yeah.
When it was all said and done, do you have one team that you enjoyed playing with the most?
Probably the Patriots.
Just because of the success?
Well, it was just a group of guys. It was just a really good team. It was just like a great environment. It was a top-notch organization. And then probably second would be the Giants. The Giants had the best food in the NFL.
Best food?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, they had the best food in the entire NFL.
There were some people put out the word. Some people said last week when the Giants took Daniel Jones over Dwayne Haskins, there were people out there who were like, the Giants don't want a black quarterback as the face of their franchise. Given your time with the franchise, is that something that you think could be a realistic thought?
I mean, no, not mine. I was only there for a brief time, but I think there is something that some teams probably think about. I mean, being a black quarterback is really hard. It's the widest position in NFL, and it's a totally different. Like, you think about black quarterbacks, if Andrew Luck and Cameron Newton had the same 40 times and same athletic ability, but no one questioned Andrew Luck as a quarterback, but they question Cam Newton as a quarterback. You know what I'm saying? So it's just how they look at it. Like, when you're a black quarterback, they look at you differently. Like, you have to tell black quarterbacks not to run fast when they run at 40. Because if he runs fast, he's a wide receiver. He's a wide receiver. He's this. So
that's why Lamar Jackson refused to do any running at his combine last year.
They tried to switch his position.
Right, because they were like, we're going to make you something else. And
yes.
Like, then, of course, it's funny, though, because he gets to the league. and he does take off and is very effective as a runner when he does it.
I mean,
but he made sense, because if you don't want, you have to show people you can throw. That's what the position is.
Yeah, just throw all day.
Yeah.
Run when you need to.
And when you
know I can run, just watch the tape.
I don't need to come out and run through right now. Is the combine a weird experience, period?
Yeah, it's a little bit like slavery, I would imagine.
It does.
I mean, you stand on this, you walk up, you stand on this thing where
I can't do it. I can't watch it.
You naked, tight zone. They measuring your hands. They measuring your feet. People are whispering and taking notes on clipboards.
That's so weird.
Yeah,
it's Get
weird.
Out. That's like a very
crazy.
It feels like a very Get Out experience to me.
I didn't enjoy it.
You didn't?
I didn't enjoy it at all.
And did you have those thoughts when you were there?
I always have those thoughts since I was a kid.
So when the time came, you were like, here we go. This is this thing that I always thought reminded me of a slave. Because what we're saying is it reminds you of a slave auction. That is the what you're implying. I
mean, they probably used the same format. You know what I'm saying? So when I was there, after reflecting on it, I was just kind of like, hey, man, this is kind of strange. Like, this don't feel right. Like, I don't really get. Like, some of the stuff we was doing, I don't really get. Like, the way they was just, this kind of stuff we could do in private. You know what I'm saying? They could just looked at the chart. You could wait in, and they could look at the chart, but they make you spin in a circle, everything.
That's so strange. You're right.
Weird.
You're like, why can't they have people who do it? And when you first show up to the combine, everyone privately has a meeting. They take all your blah, blah, blah. These are your official sizes. And then when you go out, everyone can just look at a chart. Why do you have to publicly do a friggin' song and dance for everyone where they see you half naked? Like, it is a very strange.
It is strange. I mean, but we're conditioned to do it as well as the players. Like, it's like most guys won't think about it until they start to get older.
That are like, why am I? Yeah, I get it. What about weird questions? Did you get any weird questions at your combine?
I mean, I think the number one thing my whole thing that they talked to me about was, the knock on me was that I
read too much.
I was really smart, but also I remember my agent telling me, they said if they pay you that you'll probably move to another country and not come back. And I was like, well, they got a point.
Well, they read me pretty well.
I had to meet with like 20 psychologists, because I was like 20 at the time. I was the youngest guy in the draft, and like I walked into a room. I think it was after the Colts won the Super Bowl. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm about to meet Tony Dungy. He's this great guy. I walked in, it's this dark room, and it's this white lady sitting in the chair. She's like, have a seat, Martellus. And I was just kind of like, oh, that's not what I was expecting. And she's like,
she starts stirring the tea.
Yeah. Yeah, that happened too. I had tea at Jerry Jones' house. That was before Get Out, and I was just kind of like,
You went to Jerry Jones' house?
Yeah.
For a meeting?
Yeah.
When he signed you, or before he signed you?
It was like, I was about to retire like my third year in the NFL, and he wanted to talk to me about it.
And he talked you into staying?
Or he hypnotized me into staying.
Did you like Jerry Jones?
I did like Jerry. Jerry's a really good dude.
He's a likable guy.
Yeah, he was always nice. He's first class dude, you know, and we always got along. I didn't really have any bad relationships with too many people.
What about how was your relationship with Romo?
I mean, me and Romo, we was cool. We didn't really have a relationship because I was a younger player and Jason Witten was his guy. And I didn't really get a lot of my passes didn't really come from Romo when I was there. It was from John Kitna and Brad Johnson. So I didn't get to play that much with Romo, but I didn't realize how
God, no wonder you had your best season in New York. You were getting passes from John Kitna when you were in Dallas.
I didn't realize how
No
good
offense, John Kitna.
John Kitna is the reason why I didn't retire.
Really?
Yeah, he's the guy that kept me from retiring. But then, but I didn't realize how good Romo was until I started playing with other quarterbacks in the NFL.
And then you went back and realized that.
I was like, oh, Romo could really play. You know what I'm saying? I was so bitter about like not getting the ball that I was like, everybody sucks.
Right. What do you think of Romo on TV? Have you gotten to watch him at all? Or you been?
I watched him a couple times. He's better than Witten.
Oh, is Witten your boy or not?
Nah, he's not my boy.
Why weren't you guys good?
Just cause.
You were mad because he was getting all the PT?
Well, no, just other stuff too. He's been a dick.
Oh, well, that'll do it also.
Yeah.
And I will tell you, he's got some work to do. Romo is. Oh no, he's going back to playing. I forgot.
Yeah.
I forgot. He got the most coveted job because I'm on ESPN also.
Yeah.
So as a sports broadcaster, you end up in the most coveted position. You do it for 1 year, and then you're like, nah, fam, I'm going to go back to my other job. That did rub me the wrong way.
I thought because they was going to fire him, it was a better look to go back and play than it is to get fired out of that position.
See, you know why I like you, Marty B? Because we did an entire interview. We promoted the hell out of Dear Black Boy, and then you just gave us a headline to get tons of views. So that's why we will sell books now. Dear Black Boy is available right now. Don't call him Marty B. That's his pre-marriage name. His name is Martellus Bennett. The book is out right now, and imaginationagency.com. You can get all your Martellus Bennett stuff right there.
Well, thank you. Some people call me the Black Walt Disney, but I am not the Black Walt Disney.
You're not the Black Walt Disney.
I'm at the forefront of telling story for kids of color. So if you think you have a little black kid's birthday coming up, then you definitely want to shop at the imaginationagency.com.
Dope, man. Thank you for making time.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.